directional imperative in the formation of locality. Locality wants to become totality. And totality is inherently the author of locality. And what I like is the fact that by being able to separate these things, we can set up the mechanism for creating a universe. And the mechanism is that from totality, we can condense energy into a locality and create the event that we're calling mass. And the proof of that is that there are mechanisms that release mass back into its radiant form so that it can expand back over the totality of this loop. And that is, if we look at nature, if we take an electron and a positron, bring them together, the knot disappears. And we get this impulse that tries to expand and deploy itself back through the universe. And okay, so given the utter simplicity of just a loop, is what we're talking about, just loops here, and we're looking for how does form evolve from utter simplicity of a simple loop into incredible complexity. What we see is that the loop, to do that, has to come preloaded with its knot. So the inescapable conclusion is that the stuff of the universe from which localities are created has built into it all the energy it needs, because where else would it come from? And so what is happening between the really small event at Planck scale and then go along the ways and then up emerges complex events like electrons and particles and then atoms and molecules and cells and so on, is a deployment of that energy into larger volume.
That's expansion of the universe.
Things build complexity, and the desire of the knot to diffuse is powering the whole thing. So another interesting nature of this is, I'm jumping into something here, but when the Michelson-Morley experiment tried to look for drag, it was assuming that matter is detached from ether.
Yeah.
And that because of that, it would encounter ether and be slowed.
Yeah,
but if this chunk of matter and this is the ether, I can move this knot along here, yeah, and I'm experiencing, there's no resistance because it is itself. Yeah. And not only that, I can take this knot and another knot, and I can work them right through each other perfectly. One knot does not block another knot. And so I have a mechanism. If the energy event is actually attached to its source, then we can move things all around without any resistance whatsoever.
In other words, the ether wind is a bad comparison. It's a bad statement of the problem.
It is.
There's no ether wind.
No.
It's a bad term.
Go on. Go ahead.
May I
what he's saying is the structure and the material of it is the same thing. It's not a discontinuity like ether and matter colliding with each other or going like wind through the forest. That's Fitzgerald's. And it's just the same thing in a different conformation. Ether doesn't collide with matter. All these mechanistic images of the ether it's gonna kill the ether. That's why you ask.
I know. It's if you take matter
You destroy it.
then you're in trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing works.
Can I say a word?
Sure.
Well, consider this, that Earth entrains a volume of ether, perhaps defined by its magnetosphere, which is at rest with respect to Earth as it moves in its orbit. I think there's an ether flow inward or outward, depending.
Yes.
Now, but this is a sort of self-contained bubble of ether that remains at rest with respect to this ether outside it in the solar system, so that there's an ether wind which you could, if you could be at the edge of this bubble, you could perhaps, in principle, measure it. But if you're inside the bubble, then of course you cannot measure it. But I just want to say, just because you can't measure it doesn't mean it's not there.
No. What his model tells you that there's no discontinuity between the knob and the string, period.
And I'd like to know from you, would you agree that that bubble exists because the ether is there and the matter's there at the same time at the same place?
That's a good question.
Is that
Actually,
your
you know, I don't think of it in those terms. I'm hoping to learn to think in those terms. Here's how I think about it. We have a thing called stellar aberration. And stellar aberration cannot occur inside this bubble. It has to be sort of like outside the bubble. But then also we have the GPS, the global positioning system, which is inside the bubble. And the GPS does have to adjust or correct for Earth's rotation, because this stationary bubble translates with Earth and its orbit about the sun. It does not rotate with the Earth. Earth's rotation is an ether wind that GPS corrects for.
Okay. It's a problem of understanding. Listen, I think that your model is very good to demonstrate this continuity of constitution.
Okay.
Can I ask you to go back one step, because I think you gave the instance where the knot was energy and it was attempting to dissipate.
Right.
Could you think of the corollary of that being that the knot is matter and it's trying to aggregate?
Right. Yes, thank you.
We're going to say
Because it is a symmetrical process. Why would this, you're asking, why would this want to become that?
because it's matter.
Why would it condense?
You changed it to the others, to the matter instead of energy.
Right. And that's certainly a process that's very well known how that works.
Pair creation.
Yeah.
Gamma rays and then
Both.
Now, to get to that level, then I think we have to introduce the fact that, I mean, from the structural point of view, in order to work that out in this, we have to introduce the notion that, I don't know, who here saw that talk last night, or yesterday. But
Don,
Yeah.
before you give your solution to this reverse process, let me clarify what I just said. In pair creation, you have two gamma rays becoming positon and electron. That's to me the most fundamental change of our physics. It's absolute nothing is compared to that.
right.
It's what Aristotle called generation and corruption. My question is, I don't know if anybody here knows. Do you need, because Anderson discovered this studying cosmic rays through lead plates. You need matter already there so that the gamma rays organize. I don't know if spontaneously gamma rays can get into particles. I think you need like a catalyst, an inducer of form. I'm not sure about this, but I know that paired annihilation can occur spontaneously, and it happens in PET, positive electron tomography. In any clinic, you get electrons and positron from the thing they inject the patient, they destroy, and then gamma ray goes and they measure. So it's a perfectly used technology.
Yeah.
That happens spontaneously. The other process, which is more complicated, this is easier to dissipate things, to concentrate things into a structure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need pre-structure